Guys, what is going on? Marcos Lightning Kid Estrada. We are back this week for the Lightning Kid MMA Beginner's Guide. Getting better at saying that. Boom. So, today's video guide, we're going to go over, was inspired by a conversation that I had. I was on a trip the other day, and I was talking to a mom of a young boy. And she was asking a lot of questions about jiu-jitsu. She found out that I taught jiu-jitsu. And just not really knowing anything about the sport or anything. She had a concern about her son. She said, I want my son to be able to defend himself, right? I don't want him to go beat kids up, but I want him to be able to handle business if necessary. And he was young. He's like maybe 2 or 3 years old, so a little young to be starting, but I wasn't very much older when I was at least introduced to the mat, right? So if you're looking for something to put your kid in, right, not just looking for yourself, but jiu-jitsu is absolutely one of the best things you can do for your kids, right? One of the best, because, and today we're going to get a little scientific, right? For those of you who don't know my background, my academic background, I went to the University of Illinois at Chicago. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal law and justice with a minor in sociology, right? And so criminology is it's a pretty dark subject. You're studying crime, right? You're studying people who operate outside of the society in order to learn more about society, right? So it's more of a results-based study, right? You kind of study it once something has already happened. Once a crime has been committed, you can kind of see the outcome and kind of study that to understand more about the bigger picture, right? So what we do, jiu-jitsu and combat training, MMA, Krav Maga, etc., right? What that does is helps to train your mind. It's high intensity training for your brain psychologically, right? Not just for your body, right? A lot of you people do HIIT, high intensity of interval training, right? But this is another kind of high intensity training. And what I mean by it is, so when your body is exposed to stress, right? When something happens to you, your brain goes into the fight, flight, or freeze response, right? The reason why you enter into this response is caused by a dumping of chemicals from a couple different areas in your brain. The adrenal gland is one of the biggest ones, right? So you'll have adrenaline, right? Which is why you get really hyped up, your heart starts beating, your pupils dilate, right? Your blood is flowing to different parts of your body, preparing you to do something in response to the stress, right? Another one is norepinephrine, which is kind of like adrenaline, but again, what it does is it raises awareness. It gets you pumping and moving, like, hyper aware, so that you can be prepared to make a decision to, again, leave or fight, right? Oxytocin and cortisol are another one, right? Two other ones, right? Oxytocin is actually happiness. So if you've ever been under really, really, really high stress and you start laughing, right? That's actually a brain chemical, and that's your body's reaction to stress. Or if you start crying, I believe cortisol is that, right? So as soon as your body comes into contact with something, boom, your body dumps. We're ready. Fight, flight, or freeze response, right? Everyone is different. You don't know how you're going to react into the moment. But what's interesting about the body is it actually doesn't know the difference between a situation of lethal or non-lethal, right? Here's what I mean by that. Your fight or flight response can be upped in the middle of traffic. Somebody cuts you off, or you're about to change lanes and somebody, is in your blind spot and you go, right? You ever notice that feeling, right? Well, those are the same chemicals. Your brain doesn't release only a few of them or a little bit just because we're in the car. Oh, okay. But if someone pulls a gun out and puts it in your face, your body dumps the same chemicals, right? Whether it's a high stress or seemingly really, really high stress situation, your body just dumps it and you go straight into your response, right? Why do I say all that? Because high stress, right? Things that are really, really crazy seeming, right? People tend to avoid. things that are really, really crazy, really high stress are kind of a deterrent from people. And that's why people don't join jiu-jitsu gyms. That's why they go their entire life wanting to learn boxing but never doing it. Why? Because what they see or what they perceive incites some kind of negative response, and they're like, I don't want that. But in order to actually make those responses not as scary, you have to practice them. So jiu-jitsu and combat training is a systematic approach to what people perceive as chaos. I'm going to explain an event. You're standing in front of someone, they run at you, they grab you, they throw you on the ground, they jump on top of you, and they start choking you. What did I just describe? Well, depending on the context, right? If we're in a jiu-jitsu gym, we're talking about rolling, right? That's what we do. Someone tries to come, they're trying to attack, they're trying to take you down, they're trying to pass your guard, they're trying to get inside your collar, they're trying to submit you, right? But if you change the context to a parking lot at 2 a.m. outside of a bar, well, that's very scary, right? The same two concepts, some people are like, well, both of those seem really scary. Yeah, they are, right? But in the proper context, one is safer and one is dangerous, right? But your body doesn't actually know the difference. In a dojo, if somebody does that, they complete that, and they choke you out, you tap, that's it. You don't die. You don't go to sleep. You don't go to the hospital. It just starts over again. But your body doesn't know the difference between that and someone attacking you in a parking lot, right? So by putting yourself in those situations, by putting yourself in what seems to be crazy or insane, right, or panic-inducing or overwhelming, becomes normal the more you practice it. Jiu-jitsu will teach you techniques and methods to escape someone who's jumping on your back trying to choke you or harm you, right? So the more you continue, the more you can progress, the more you learn, right? Taking the back of a black belt is nowhere near the same experience of taking the back of somebody who's never trained, right? So again, I say all this to where if you're putting yourself in these situations in the gym, seemingly life-threatening, right? You learn how to get out of them, learn how to avoid them, learn how to put other people in those, right? Everyday life just doesn't seem that bad, right? Adversity at work, adversity, with your kids, problems with your family, your brother, whatever, your aunt, like none of that crap seems any really all that matters, because you know what? When it comes to high level stress situations, I can walk myself through it. I can talk myself through each point and be like, okay, hey, you know what? Boom, hey, boom, adapt, overcome, change, right? And that's why it's good for kids. I mean, it's great for adults because over time we avoid things that bring us stress. We try to be as stress-free as possible, right? But jiu-jitsu, it can be really stressful. It seems crazy. But the more you do it, right, the more it normalizes, the less scary it all seems. And then again, like I said, the rest of the world doesn't really seem all that scary either. And there's a reason why it's good for kids, and why I told her, hey, look for a jiu-jitsu program or some kind of grappling to put your kid into, is because if you help train your kids early on, help, carve out those neural pathways, right? High stress situations in comparison to the ones that they face in the gym every day just don't seem as crazy, right? You can prepare for the worst case scenario. We do it in the gym all the time. Start with people on my back at a disadvantage and learn how to walk your way back to safety. It's systematic. It teaches you from point A to point B, right? And then you take that same model and you apply it to every other area of your life, and you begin to see how, why this type of training is so great. So there you have it. Backed by science. If you put yourself in crazy situations, crazy just doesn't seem crazy anymore. It just seems normal. And, again, the proper context, training yourself and your mind and your body to work together in accordance to go against the body's natural response to run, take off, right? Train yourself to submerge and be inside those moments. Just doesn't seem all that bad, right? It's funny because those things are so normal to me, right? I get laughed at in other areas because there are things that still make me nervous. There are things that I don't like that incite responses in me that other people look at and be like, really? Like Mr. Big Tough Fighter guy? Scared of spiders? Yeah, I could probably control a grown man. I could see what's happening. I don't know what the spider's thinking. I don't know what he's doing. He's trying to crawl inside my ears, right? So, again, if you put yourself in those situations, right? If you are terrified of public speaking and you make yourself talk in front of a bunch of people, after a while, it doesn't seem that bad, right? To some people, being attacked and physically dominated and jumped on and squeezed and assaulted is like the most scary thing that could ever happen to them. But then they don't go and they don't train, they don't face their fears, and they just expect to be able to do what needs to happen in that moment. And I'm going to end with this quote. I believe it was Tim Kennedy. I saw it on the internet. His name was attached to it. He said this: "You may one day be in the fight of your life, and the only thing that's going to determine the outcome of that fight is whether or not you prepared for it." If you prepare yourself, prepare your mind, your body, everything to react in the way that it needs to react in that moment, even something as scary as someone attacking you, jumping on you, wrapping their hands around your neck, just becomes a part of everyday life, right? So as far as self-defense is concerned, as far as fitness is concerned, right, MMA training is right up there. But as far as confidence and being able to walk around this earth and not feel, terrified of things around you, it's a really good feeling. And it's, again, why you should train MMA. This has been Lightning Kid, MMA Beginner's Guide. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love and support I've been getting. I don't do this because of you. Keep training. We'll see you on the mats.